Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to another exciting edition of World News with Jester and Baa. Obviously joining me is Baa Ram Who from the Baa Ram Who podcast. What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm good. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great, man.
Awesome. It's currently 20 past 10 here, but I'm night shift this week coming, so I'll be gradually staying up through the night over the weekend, just easing myself into it. So looking forward to it.
Right, and it's only 5 p.m. here where I am, so for the listeners out there that don't know, Baa and I are approximately 5 hours apart in time. So I hope you guys can appreciate all the effort we put forth to make this one episode a month happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you guys, all the listeners out there know how to get a hold of me and Baa. So if you guys want to reach out to us, do so through the appropriate channels, okay? In case you guys have questions, topic suggestions, all that good stuff. Maybe we'll try to factor that in there. But Baa is going to be enlightening all of us in America on the straw man. I'm super excited about this because I never even heard of the straw man until you brought it up. I did not know what it was.
Okay. It's a subject that I just love, and it's one that I think it takes a lot of research, a lot of reading through books and documents and things to really learn up about it. You basically have to become like a lawyer, pretty much. You have to know what we're dealing with, the system. But the conspiratorial side of me looks to films like The Matrix, and I know that's a common phrase, that The Matrix was a documentary, but it's not that we believe that people can do backflips and move in that way, and that we're all plugged into like these incubators and we're all, that's maybe not, it's a bit far-fetched, but what I definitely believe is that the system is built around us like a matrix. We're enslaved by this system that I'm sure you guys have heard about, tax, like Donald Trump, Google, Amazon, how they tax evade. And in my opinion, I don't know about yourself, Jester, but it's not that they're evading tax. They're doing it legally. They're using loopholes. This is why they're never brought to task. So they know the loopholes. They know the system, and they're using it to their own advantage. And I say, why don't we do that? And through the straw man, the stuff that I've learned, I'm navigating that system. I'm putting some of it into work. I'm not going to disclose what, because I don't want to get people... But there is a way. Like, trust me, guys. I've seen it. I've done it myself. You can navigate through these letters that were being sent, and for me, the favorite part of the straw man is learning about the words. It's all in the wording. So yeah, what's your thoughts, Chester, so far?
Okay, so all right, I'm still not picking up fully what the straw man is yet, but I'm right there with you on knowing that a lot of these larger elites, a lot of the people that are well off in this country, are avoiding a lot of these tax proceedings, mainly because they have the money to go through these channels and find these loopholes. I mean, it's really easy for somebody that's in charge of a large corporation to magically spring up a nonprofit organization and funnel money through it, right? Mm-hmm. And then they get that loophole of, getting to avoid all this tax and all these different things. So... And this, I just want to ring on this for a little bit. You know about this big push into digital currency, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing all the banks failing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the big thing. For all of us, lower level financial people, for those of us that are, average everyday people that are living a modest life and working modest jobs and having like a regular average income, we don't have the power that these larger people do to get around the digital currency and find these loopholes and stuff like that. So what you're saying about this, I feel, is going to be even more prevalent, and it's going to be even more harsh as we move forward into this digital currency. And we all know it's coming. It's not a myth anymore. It's not a theory anymore. You can take the tinfoil hat off, Baa, this shit's happening.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do, but apparently I've seen a couple of people putting little TikTok short little clips on recently saying that everyone's distracted by Trump being arrested. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has used his first veto, which was the veto to something about the digital currency, where he's vetoed it from, the thing about passing it. And he says, no, we want it to possibly be a thing, something like that.
So I heard last night somebody mentioned something about the Fed Now currency system.
Yeah.
It maybe is related to that, but I don't know.
Yeah. But as I agree with the whole Trump thing could be a big distraction. I think it's all theater. But anyway,
whoa, I got to comment on this real quick because
you're
right. You're right. It's 100% theater, and it's all crap. All right, let me tell you what's going to happen. All the Democrats right now are all like, "Woo, Trump got arrested." All the Republicans are pissed, right? Mm-hmm. All the Democrats are throwing their rhetoric at the Republicans, like, "See, we told you guys he was a criminal." Blah 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 blah. And then and they're like, oh, Trump's trying to incite a civil war, blah, blah. So if anybody on the right speaks up, they're a domestic terrorist. If anybody on the left speaks up, they're right. And then what'll happen is whenever Trump gets acquitted of these charges, because he will, because they're not going to put him in jail. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Like, let's be honest. But, certain people want to think that's going to happen. Let them think that's going to happen. So when he gets out, they're going to say, oh, he bought his way out. And then the right's going to be like, no, he was never guilty. And it's going to be, this is why big government and big establishment's bad, but yet they're going to vote in more forms of government with more regulations. It's all a shit show, man. It's all theater. It's all bullshit. I guarantee you right now, somewhere Trump's probably rubbing elbows with some high-up Democrat that's saying, dude, just keep running with it, man. Don't worry. When this is all done, we'll have a few beers and we'll hang out on the beach. You're good, man. You're good.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. For me, it's all, I know some people can get like, oh, come on, it's not all theater, but for me, it all is. They're all actors. They're all playing the script. So literally, I believe they sit at that table and say, right, so from March to May, we'll do the Trump thing, and then in May, we'll let him out. And, it's all scripted like that for me. I can't unsee it.
I can't either. You're right. I mean, I don't vote anymore.
Are you looking for something kick-ass to add to your closet? Reaper has the hookup for t-shirts, hoodies, button-ups, hats, beanies, and plenty of other badass products. You can check out Reaper Apparel Company at www.reaperapparelco.com and use code DOOM10 for 10% off. Jester only stands behind brands he believes in, and Dan at Reaper Apparel has a mission, and Jester is on board. Go check out www.reaperapparelco.com today and use code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire order. Why be a sheep when you can reap? Use code DOOM10 for 10% off at www.reaperapparelco.com today.
No.
Fuck it.
Neither do I. Anyway, so back to the straw man. So the straw man, I'll give you a little brief history. It begins with the papal bull and Pope Benedict back in I believe it was the 1600s, where back in those days, how they put laws in was writing down on a bit of, well, I don't know, wouldn't have been paper in those days, and then put it behind a cave and rolled a stone over it. And that was the way that laws were made and kept. And that was the whole thing about enslaving people, keeping their identity in the Vatican. I'm sure everyone knows about the whole thing about the Vatican's got all the birth certificates or the rights to all our birth certificates. And that leads me to the point which I love learning about is the straw man is you, but not you, if you know what I mean. So your name, my name, I'll give, let's say I'm Mr. Baa Ram Yu. So when I'm born, I'm given a birth certificate. My mom and dad go to the local townhouse, they sign a birth certificate, which gives you a code, gives you a number, puts you on the stock exchange, and they're monetizing you. They're monetizing you of 18 years of labor, and then obviously when you do go into labor, they're making even more. And when they give you a birth certificate, they're creating a legal fiction straw man. So this is what I said, it's you, but it's not you. It's a corporation in your name. So like when people go self-employed, they're creating a business in their name. Now, I don't know how that stands up against it because I haven't gone down that path, but for just now, there is two of me. And every time I get a letter through my door, you'll notice it's addressed to my name, but in all capital letters, or it'll have a title, Mr., Mrs., whatever, or it'll have capital I and capital D or capital B, capital R, capital E, like BRE is capitalized. That's not me. And I know this is where people say, oh, it's just a cop-out. I'm Baram Yu, not capital B, capital A, capital A. This is how they get us. They're creating titles and they're sending us letters to our houses or homes in hope that we contract with them. Again, it's in the words contract, they're conning us, conversation. Even like the way we're born, I love this part. When you're born, your mother's waters break. This is all about maritime law and how people like, I believe, Donald Trump's and all your elites are working on maritime law. So they're lost at sea. Their money is floating in the sea or whatever. Our money is in banks, embankment. So when our mother's waters break and we are born or birthed like a boat through her birth canals.
I call that a vagina.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's all the terms of like boats and waters and seas and land. So we are captured on land where monies are in banks. We've been birthed. Whereas these people are putting their money in offshore bank accounts where money can be money or currency. Money can be liquidated. Money is frozen. It's all even in courts, there's a dock. It's all these terms that basically has created a matrix around us so that when we get letters, and I'll use the UK, we have council tax, which is the once a month payment that pays for your trash to be taken out, your water. Pretty much that's it. But they say it goes for the surrounding areas, parks, litter, recycling, stuff like that. So we every month, most houses in the UK are between maybe £100 and £200 every month. Well, they're the easiest ones to fight. I know a lot of people that don't pay that, and for people listening, maybe think, they look down on people like us that fight the system and send the letters back and say not known at this address because they're literally addressing your straw man and not you. And what that entails, it ends up in a fight with letters being sent back and forth, but eventually they give up because they know they're not above the law. I'll let you in there.
Okay, so now all right, there's something similar in the U.S., and we talk about this too. Whenever you're born here, you get a birth certificate, and apparently I've heard people talk about this. You can go buy your name back from the federal government, okay? And I don't know how the process works. My wife was even bringing this up to me and saying we should consider going to do this because when you do this, you're not held to the same rights and standards as everybody else. It's completely different. You're not required to abide by certain things. It's different, right?
Want to be a guest on the show? Email it's doomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's it's doomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
And it is the same mentality that you are, in fact, their owned property through these birth certificates, through things like that. And I'm going to tell you what, I think there's a little bit, I'm going to go down a conspiracy road here like I always do. Okay, I'm taking EMT classes right now. That's like my thing I'm doing at the moment. And we just finished doing our birthing class. And I got to say, I'm pretty proud of myself because that's the first test I've got a perfect score on was for the birthing, right?
Awesome.
Right? So, what's very interesting about this, though, is one of the main goals as an EMT and being on the ambulance is to get the mother to the hospital. You only birth that child on scene outside of a hospital if, in fact, that baby's already on its way out, right? If not, they want that baby to be born in a hospital. Yeah. Number one is for billing purposes, obviously. Number two is, they are worried about the health of people, and they want babies to be born safe, things like that. But you do got to understand there is a very hard process to obtaining a birth certificate, to obtaining socials, to obtain these things when you're not born inside of a hospital, right? And I've heard this be said. My adopted father, he wasn't born in a hospital, and he had I guess his family had a hell of a time trying to get him a birth certificate, right? So if it's inside the walls of their confine, everything's easily issued. It's all processed. It's easily done. Outside of the hospital, it's a lot harder for these documents to get issued and for this to happen. So, effectively, if you're born outside of a hospital, okay, and, you never go to the hospital, and like 3 years later, you're like, you know what, I gotta put my kid in school in the next couple years here. We never got him a birth certificate. Well, you know what kind of hoops you're going to jump through now trying to get that birth certificate, trying to prove that this child's yours, trying to, manipulate the system. So what you're talking about with this birth certificate side of this and the you being a corporation and how things are addressed and titled, because I've heard the same thing. Like on all these government documents, everything, even your driver's license, everything is in all capital letters. Yeah. And I've heard that be said because that's your official corporation is in all caps or whatever they call it. And they do, I believe they call it here buying back your sovereignty, I think is what they may call it. But the term straw man is something completely new to me. Right.
There's a few names for straw man, legal fiction. There is a few, but it's all the same kind of stuff. The Black's Law Dictionary deserves a mention. When I know the court system, police even, they use the dictionary, the Black's Law Dictionary, and there are a few volumes of it. So make sure, I think the best one to get is the 4th volume. But the word that I would tell everyone to I was about to say it there, the word understand is a huge word in the system where when you get stopped by police, they're dying to get you to say, do you understand? And if you look up the Black's Law Dictionary of the word understand, it doesn't mean what we believe it to mean, meaning I comprehend. It means I stand under you. You're actually giving them a verbal contract. So I've used this. I've definitely put this into test. I was stopped in November on my way to work, and I had a coffee between my legs, and I was just looking down at it as I was passing through a roundabout, and the police were there. They pulled me over, and I was getting a ticket. They thought I was on my mobile phone. That's what they said, which is I think it's a 60 or an 80 pound fine, also points. And I managed to navigate my way out of that conversation by combating it with these legalese terms, these double speak kind of terms. They were asking me, do you own this car? Things like that. And the other thing you say is, and this will lead me into what you were just saying there with the road, you never say you're traveling to work. No, you never say you're driving to work, because driving is a mode of commerce. So you're a taxi driver, a cab driver, a lorry, a trucker, where you're being paid, you're driving. But if you're just traveling from A to B, you're traveling. You do not need a driving license for that. And this is how they, again, entrap us. They're able to give us points. And then going back to the COVID stuff, this is why this is so important to learn. It's not only just to navigate through bills and things that we shouldn't be paying, but you remember when they were locking us all down in our countries and people were saying, I can't, go and visit my family in other countries. There was a thing called a sea pass, which allows you to leave your country and go on a boat across seas. And that's free. they get us to have passports, which are for boats, for commerce. But people, it's a God-given right or a natural given right, depending how you sway. If you don't like the religious terms, I know that is something that I hear being said. If you don't like God-given right, you go natural given right. But these are rights that humans have from birth. But we've been so used to being like given them by the governments and having them taken away. It's sucks.
I want to comment on something you mentioned with the religious side versus, the governmental side of this. So, I mean, first off, number one, the government has technologies that we don't know about, and they always have, right? And this goes back years and years and years. They always had bigger, better things than they let the people know about for years. This isn't anything that we're unaware of now with the technology that has been released to us within the last 30, 40 years. We now know it, that they've had this the whole time. We know all these things. But the one thing I do want to say is that...
Do you have enough food in your pantry for when disaster strikes? Go to www.readywise.com and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire food order. ReadyWise offers long-term food storage items such as chicken and beef that last up to 15 years. But that's not all. Go to www.readywise.com and use our code DOOM10 for 10% off of organic food as well. Offering chili, pasta, and soups, they have you covered. Did we mention they have fruits? Bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and apples, just to name a few. With many more food options for your home, car, or bug-out bag, ReadyWise has your six. Go to www.readywise.com now and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off.
Back in the day, they couldn't control us because they didn't have the technology to do so. Now they do, right? That's the big thing. They have the technology now. So whenever you say God-given versus natural given, the term with God-given rights is because the governments of the world couldn't control us and they lacked the technology and the manpower to do so, and especially monitoring everybody, back then they just utilized religion as a form of control. That's what they did. You fell under a certain church. You were with a certain congregation. This is how they knew to locate you. This is how they knew where you would be every Sunday. This is how they knew who you were, because the congregation would speak. And not only that, you're not in fear of governmental law. You're in fear of God's law. So these commandments are set before you, follow them or else. Just like now we have laws, follow them or else. And how you brought up the thing about the passports and the travel, I mean, I understand citizens just can't country hop because of governments. If it wasn't for governments, citizens could do that. Governments want revenue. They want tax money. If Jester takes off and moves over to the UK where Baa is, the only thing they have to stand by knowing that I'm there is getting their tax dollars, right? Oh, yeah. Are they going to give a shit that I'm using Baa's toilet paper? No, they're not going to care. Are they going to care that I'm eating a couple more pounds of food a day? No, they're not going to give a shit. But they want, if I generate an income, they want a piece of that. And that goes all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm done.
Yeah. No, I mean, you had there the difference between lawful and legal. That's a big thing in this straw man system that I'm learning and loving. But lawful is what we should be following. Lawful, and I think the biggest key to that is if there is a victim, then there's been a crime. But some of these, like I always use the one with a seatbelt, you can be stopped and fined for not having a seatbelt on, but who are you actually hurting there? Like if worse comes to worse and you have an accident, it's you that's getting hurt. Why does the government or the police get to come in and be able to slap a 60, 70 pound fine because you haven't put on your seatbelt? And listen, we're not going to argue like why. I always wear it, but it's the fact that the system has captured, have seen an opportunity to go, there's another where we can screw them out of money.
So on that note, I have to agree with you 110%. My son, he's young, right? He's still a kid. He's not an adult yet. He was driving down the road the other day, and the police officer said he rolled a stop sign. I wasn't there. I don't know if he did or he didn't. Mm-hmm. The initial fine for running a stop sign for him was $50. Okay? Not that bad. Pay the $50, go on about your day. With 911 fees, associated costs, and everything else brings the grand total of that fine to $241.
Oof.
That's like a 400% markup.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the thing. It's because they know they can do that to us because we're in fear. You don't want to go to jail for not paying a ticket because guess what? Paying the $241 is better than spending a week in jail, right?
Yeah.
So they know that, oh, we'll just threaten people's freedom till we can. It's extortion is what it is. Like, let's be honest. It's extortion.
What gets me is when you look, I mean, you can go on YouTube and follow a few people. I'll certainly do that when I upload this episode. I'll put some people to follow. There's Telegram groups that I'm in where there's a counter pinned to the top of the channel, and there's a woman that runs it, and she has nearly £2 million in refunds for this stuff. It's all fraud. So if you've been paying, for example, people are fighting their council tax, people are fighting their gas and electric, people are fighting their TV license, which is a great example to use to show people what I was kind of going on to was that people like myself, if you look in the comment sections, and we might get it with this episode, Jester, people look down on me as if I'm a scumbag, pay your dues, pay into the system, all that kind of stuff, as if I'm the bad one. But it's like the way I see it is when you're dishonest in a dishonest system, you're actually honorable. Like I'm doing the right thing. People are not able to put food on the table for their families, their kids, but they have to scrape together the money to pay these fraudulent bills, things that are being put through their door, and then they're feeling honored. It's just disgusting to me. So I think more power to them, and I'm seeing it happen. I'm loving learning all about it, and I think if we can, fight back and because see some of the letters, the template letters that I've seen and been sent to, draft out myself and change a few things here and there to suit me. When you read these letters, it just drops the veil. It makes you feel so strong and empowered, and the whole system crumbles when you read the questions that you're sending them to have to answer. And finish on, let's say the council takes you to court. What they are doing is they are hiring a judge because it's a civil matter. It's man versus company. So it's a civil matter. So they hire a judge, which is a conflict of interest. They are paying the judge's wage, which is a null and void case. But you don't know that. A lot of people just go to court. It's a summons, which also means we are summoning you, or there's a citation. Two words that mean totally different. One of them's an invitation. One of them's demand. Well, turning up with their birth certificate in hand, and when the judge calls their name, they stay seated and they hold up their birth certificate, and the judge panics and he calls your name 3 times. And if you don't stand up, he dismisses the case because he doesn't want his, named on that case, because it brings his reputation down. It's embarrassing that he's been on a case that has ended that way. But the whole thing becomes, I'm saying pay your taxes, but not, council tax, driving license, DVLA, or you guys have for your driving, there's, what's your guys's?
You mean for our driver's license, like what do we have to pay?
No, we call ours the DVLA. You've got your driving agency. What are they called? DMV,
or yeah. Some of them go even as far as just being the local tax collector's office, it's called in some states.
Yeah. But some of these bills that they're sending are basically like the equivalent of me knocking on your door and saying, Jester, I've just cut your grass. You're due me £100. And then next week I'll be cutting your grass again. You give me another £100. And if you don't give me it, I'm going to, put you to jail. It's what it is. That's how it started.
Fire is one of the most basic essentials for survival. Whether you're camping, hiking, or preparing for disaster, Blackbeard has your 6. Go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DoomsDay for 10% off your entire purchase. Blackbeard offers stormproof matches, plasma arc lighters, fire starters, and ferro rods. all of which are great for your bug out bag. Once again, go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DoomsDay for 10% off your entire purchase.
You know, and I gotta say this. I've been in a battle locally, a little bit of a battle with county commissioners and taxes that they're just going overboard with here. And I got to tell you, it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight for what they're going to keep forcing out of us. And the thing that everybody doesn't really understand, and this is what people need to really get in their minds, as these taxes increase, as we're forced to pay more fees, areas become unlivable and people have to get uprooted and relocated. And the local governments are okay with that because it brings in richer people that have more money to spend, and that's all it is. Because there's always a higher tax bracket out there and people want to move to a lower place, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be the lowest, but if you're lower than the highest, you will bring new people in that could afford these new prices. And then you push the old people out the door. And that's like the big threat of where we're at now. The citizens of the county I live in are basically like, you're just trying to force the poor people out of town to bring in rich people who could afford to pay this stuff, have us lose our properties, our businesses, and our livelihood so you guys can sit back and pocket more money. And we're watching this happen right now in front of us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think this is since 2020 with COVID, I think it's just been the tiptoe to totalitarianism and the whole social credit system. I believe that's happening. The currency thing, the digital currency, that's, as you mentioned, that's definitely happening. And to do that, they have to squeeze every last penny out of the poor man. They're eradicating the middle class. So it's just the elites and the poor. I haven't really looked too much into the digital currency stuff. But also something about like you'll be covered for so much, and that so much will be a very telling amount. Because I think, you know, I heard a theory, and I don't know, again, don't quote me, but in China, apparently they get paid, is it 3 months salary or a month's salary, let's say, and whatever's term gets removed and then they get another installment. So there's nobody with savings, apparently. I don't know if that's true, but it's all, I mean, I say fight until we basically can't anymore, but I'm a bit of a pessimist.
Well, you know what? I agree with you, man. I mean, here's the reality is people are just taking this laying down, and the governments of the world are doing this because they know they can, because nobody's standing up. And if one or two people stand up, these people are dealt with, they're taken away, they're gone, they're silenced, that's it. They're not having nations stand up to them and say, hey, we're done, we're not doing this anymore. Yeah. Like, here's the reality. Like, the county I lived in, if every single taxpayer said, you know what, we're not going to pay this. Good luck evicting every person in this town. Good luck seizing all these properties. You don't have the manpower for it. We want fair taxes. They would have no choice but to bend and flex to that, but people are scared and they won't stand up.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the Stockholm syndrome. I think that's what it is. When you've got a system that gives you money for, you know, they give welfare when you're unemployed, they give you little bits here and there, you develop a kind of fondness for them, although we all rant and rave about the government every now and again. There's that, you know, like when the prisoner of war is captured, but they get fed and watered, they end up developing a kind of a love-hate. And that's what I hate about everyone. It's like, as I said earlier, I'm going to probably be receiving a bit of hate for my beliefs here about fighting back, not paying some of these fraudulent bills and things. But for me, when I know, like, for example, again, with the TV license here in the UK, I don't know if you guys have that over there, but we have a TV license and it's only to cover one channel, the BBC. And in the BBC, I'm sure you know about Jimmy Savile. If every time we move house, you get a letter every year saying you have to pay £140 for your TV license if you own one, and people pay it. People pay monthly, or they can pay £140 in a lump sum. And if you don't pay it, you get people looking through your windows, coming to your door, trying to catch you, and you get up to a £2,000 fine, I believe it is now. And I've dealt with them. I've phoned them up and said, look, why should I give you any of my money that goes to paying for propaganda? Because the BBC is so far left. I don't watch them, so why would I pay for them? And you get, okay, sir, we'll stop bothering you, and that's it. It's the easiest one. And then obviously with the taxes, you're paying taxes to a government that's bombing countries, killing innocent people. So you're doing that. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, we are paying for those deaths. So this is why I have to push back, because I know I'm going to get abused for this, but it's like, I'm doing the morally right thing by fighting back and saying, I'm withholding my taxes until you tell me where they're going. I want itemized billing. I want to know, where does it say that I have to pay this? Because it doesn't. When you look into it, it's so fake.
So that's like the big thing. And I said this when everything got fired up with Russia. Like, I'm not for this. I'm not a part of this. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be over there helping Ukraine. I don't want my tax dollars going to this. But this is what they do. They create propaganda so everybody's okay with it. What's so funny to me right now, Baa, and this is absolutely hilarious, and I swear to God, if anybody knows anybody out there that has this mentality, smack the shit out of them for me. Do it for me. You have people out there that are saying, I stand with Ukraine, okay? And then are supporting TikTok and don't want it banned, as the money generated through TikTok is going to China, which is funding Russia, and you're using their app to say, I support Ukraine.
Yeah.
Smack yourself. If you're listening to this and you're that person, smack yourself.
Yeah. The cognitive dissonance is unreal. People holding two different beliefs. It's just support the latest thing. They're being told what to hate, who to like, and yeah.
It's bad, man. Well, that's about, we're about at our time frame, dude.
Yep.
So is there anything else you want to throw out there? I mean, so for us guys, this is, I believe the straw man, but I think our version of that would be the sovereign citizen, I think is what we would call that here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Sounds very similar.
Don't you guys, because I did write here as well, there's a video I have on my Telegram channel when I was looking up and doing a bit of research on this for tonight, was a video of, looks as if it was a podcast. Anyway, I can share this for anyone that wants it, where a guy talks about you guys can open trust funds, LLCs, and C Corps, and basically get them to run each other, and that way you can avoid paying taxes, or you get tax back. There's all these, like, this is what I'm saying. These are the loopholes and things that Trumps and Bidens and Amazons and Googles and Jeff Bezos, they're all using them. They're all utilizing the system to not pay tax. So why can't we? And there are people like, you guys have death tax. I don't know if that's a thing here in the UK. I know it is over in America. When you die, you have to pay tax. It's like, so there are ways around it. When you die, your home goes to the state. I don't know if that's here or there. I get mixed up, but I mean, these things.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. So that's like, if you die here, you have to pay for death certificates, and there's other things that you have to do. There's all these legalese and who assumes debts and things like that. But then this is the reality. If you die and you don't have any heirs, or you don't have anybody to pass your stuff on to, the state just takes ownership of everything you have. Like they've worked for it, and they've earned it, and they haven't. And then they profit off your death, which is fucking disgusting, but that's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, Bob, anything you want to tell the listeners before we get out of here? Because we're at that time.
No, just the usual. Follow me on BitChute. Raw are uploaded for the Baramu podcast, including this one. And then the audio is pretty much everywhere you can find audio. And if I'm not there, let me know, and I'll definitely get on there. And also, if you're interested in this subject and you want to know more, hit me up. Also, follow me on Instagram, Baramu Podcast, and message me on there. Or I've got tons of stuff on this on my Telegram channel, people to follow, documents, documentaries, whatever you want. But, I am passionate about this because I'm kind of putting it into action. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it, learning about it.
Right on. I know I did. Same goes for me, guys. You guys got the email. You know the contact information. Hit me up, too, in case for some reason you can't get a hold of Baa. Have a great day, everybody.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.